Hi, my name is Jean-Claude Tshipama, the new CEO of Eutelsat, in charge of broadband in Africa.
Welcome to the show, Jean-Claude.
Thank you.
And I must also welcome to the show Musa Kalenga, my co-host on AfricanTechRoundup.com. Welcome, bro.
Thank you very much. Forget me not, as we always say. But thank you. It's good to be back. Happy to chat to you today, sir.
Absolutely. Now, I typically do most of these interviews alone, but Musa's in Paris with the rest of the African Tech Roundup team. So, yeah, you're pretty special, sir.
Yeah, I'm lucky.
Look, I mean, you're fairly fresh in your role. Give us a lead up into what would have led you to your current position at Eutelsat.
So, basically, I was, a couple years ago, I was the managing director for Canal+, which is the French broadcaster in the French countries. We spent like 5 years of how will the African market will react into French or Western programs on the TV. So we tended to find a good approach to the market. So from there, prior to that, I was with Microsoft, head of Western Africa. And then I spent 10 years in telco industry with mobile operators. So to me, there was something that was missing. You know, I was part of the team that brought the first cell phone in DRC in 1999. So I was lucky to be part of that journey. And then when the opportunity of bringing internet access, high-speed internet access to Africa has shown up, so I quick jump onto the opportunity.
I mean, it sounds like you know, across this value chain of, I suppose, web services, telecoms, certainly telecoms products, and so on and so forth. But what have you found the most interesting, most stimulating in a professional sense? Think of all the things you've done.
Actually, my role at Celtel at that time was I was in a commercial team where we were teaching people how to answer the phone. You know, that was the first time, you know, people were, how do they recharge the phone? How do they plug in, get power? We were, you know, amazed to see how the cell phone has changed the behavior of people in Africa. So there were kind of a mission behind the business that we're doing. So at Canal+, I can remember that we were in the middle of nowhere, 300 kilometers away from Kinshasa, where we found a little house made in stone, you know, in a village way. But they got a antenna on the roof of the house, and they could see Real Madrid and Barcelona playing. And the guy was telling us that his children could now pick up some English words because they tend to listen into the TV show. You know, it's changed their life. So I think that experience was the most powerful in terms of, you know, touching our soul, touching our own values in the continent. Yes.
And so, I mean, I'm very interested because it seems like you've obviously, the words you used was that you used to introduce a mobile phone when people just had to learn how to switch it on, right? And now you're kind of in the space where you are taking that mobile device and you're laying down the connection between that mobile device and the rest of the world, which is internet. And I'd really like to get your view and your opinion on how you think that translates into social change that happens in environments like the one that you're describing, where there's nothing available. I think a lot of internet providers and the bigger ones, my experience when I was at Facebook was that there's a huge conundrum and there's a huge battle within organizations about the good that has to translate as a result of. So I'm really interested to hear what your view is on that.
yes, we are big company. We are a corporation. The aim is to do business, but beyond that, you could see how we have a product called hotspot Wi-Fi. So where we incorporated a hard drive, so that can provide free content to schools. So when I said that there is a kind of mission that need to be achieved, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about doing business but transforming life of people, because a school that is in rural area, because the internet via satellite that we're providing is a complementary solution to fiber optic that is existed today. So we're not targeting big cities where fiber 3G, 4G is available. No, we want to go further beyond. We want to go where people, where the majority numbers shows that there are more than 300 million people that are living more than 50 kilometers away from fiber optics in Africa. So that's where the huge population is located. So the solution that we are bringing to Africa is to enable those guys, schools, farmers. I went to Nairobi Nairobi when I visited a tea farmer, when I could see that it's a family. They needed internet connection to get in touch with their broker that was in Mombasa, dealing with distributors abroad. So they needed internet every day. So we are happy to kind of contribute to enable that capability, so that has an impact, a real impact on people's life.
A big part of what you have to do is innovation. A big part of what you have to do is, as you said, create this vision and this mission, and part of that is innovating. Can you give us an understanding of your relationship with regulators, right? Because regulators form an important part of your ecosystem as stakeholders, but also potentially as enablers to this vision and to allow you to be able to execute on some of the things that you're planning to do.
So Africa is not, unfortunately, one country. So it has each country has its own regulations. I think we as corporate company, we are trying to get the closest relationships that we can build with regulators, so that we can tell them what actually is happening, how the consumer is behaving, so that they can also better understand. So when I was with Canal Plus, we had so many sessions. We were invited into regulations committee across Africa, where we can explain how does the Canal Plus works, because most of the guys in some countries, they don't understand how things works. And then I think we position ourselves as a partner to regulators, so that we can actually play by the rules, because we are listed into the stock market, so there's no room for errors, but in the same time, we seek for their support, so that we can do what is required to actually enter the market. So it has been identified as an entry barrier that regulators need to work on policies. They need to adjust the rules, the laws, etc. So to actually make it happen, because everyone around the table agrees that we need the connectivity, but there's still an issue on how we're going to achieve that.
So I want to take you back to the experience you cited, or the patch of your corporate experience that you cited as some of the most stimulating, perhaps most enriching, challenging aspects. And I want you to think back to that time and think of some of the assumptions or projections you made about where tech would be in 2018, and how many of those things have actually come to fruition, and how many of those things were total nonsense? Think about that time when you were helping someone learn how to dial a phone and stuff like that. What did you think was possible then, and what's actually come true?
Luckily at Microsoft, we had a division that actually does that exercise. So the kind of dreamers, they try to figure out what will happen in 10 years, how people, what kind of phones, what type of software people will need, what kind of services. I can remember in 2011 in Atlanta, they were showing us that we could talk to the phone and the phone will respond, and like
Alexa,
or Siri, etc. So at that time, we were like, those guys are very, very crazy. Yeah, exactly. But I think in their role, it's important to try to, to be like in advance. So I think it's a strength for Eutelsat, because we are way in advance into satellite technology, where the K-band can actually do internet. So that was not possible 10 or to 15 or 30 years ago. So it was very challenging, because they used to say that a satellite connection is expensive. It's when you think about the satellite, your mind will go to a huge dish. So it's sort of very inaccessible stuff. While now we are talking about a small dish that put on top of your house, and then you got a 10 gig, 20, 50 unlimited volumes that you can share on data. So it's I think we kind of lucky, because in the tech companies, yes, we have people that spend 100% of their time in figure out what will happen in 10 years.
But I mean, do you remember when you were in that position? I mean, literally, think about a day when you were helping someone, learn to play with a phone. Like, where do you think that was going at the time? Where did you think that could and would go?
To be honest, I couldn't imagine myself that today we could spend, let's say, 60% of our time on our phone. That was unbelievable at that time. So it's very tough as a person, but as a corporation, yes, we are lucky, because we have people around the table that can do that on our behalf. But I went to Luputa. Luputa is a small village in DRC. So I went to deliver the first phone for my grandmother. So we spent like 3 weeks, but she couldn't make it. She could actually. So today, still up to now, you still need to show how to use the phone. So it's it's really challenging.
It's actually funny, because it's a generational gap, actually, mentally speaking. And the funny thing is, the acceleration that happens once they grasp. So, I mean, a lot of people, and even in my case, I've seen older generations of people resist technology until they point that they realize what it's there for. Then the learning almost accelerates, if that makes sense. Someone was telling me in my office the other day that their grandmother learned how to use WhatsApp. And so now all she does is just voice call. She wants a video call. She wants to see what's happening. So she's almost gone from a point of not knowing what this thing does. All of a sudden, the penny drops. And then you get this acceleration of use. And I think that's where the growth in terms of data consumption is coming from, as far as habits and behaviors that are changing. But what keeps you up at night? I mean, surely having this knowledge now to say that we're sitting on this opportunity, but we actually don't even know what it may end up looking like or shaping up to be. What keeps you up at night about that?
Can I add to that question? You must know that there are a lot of people who perceive big corporates like Eutelsat as slow and sluggish, and the last place to be able to envisage and act on this future that's coming from them. And there's like a whole bunch of potentially disruptive technologies and technology players who are looking to be ready for a future that maybe a Eutelsat or someone like them can't imagine. So again, in the context of all of that, like what keeps someone like you up at night?
I'm sticking to the fact that I have a great opportunity to change people's life. I have something powerful in my hand. So I want, when I go to bed, in my dream, I try to imagine tomorrow there are people in my village, in my father's village, where they can connect to internet. They could have access to internet via phone, via PC. That's actually drives me. There is a kind of hope that the unexpected will happen. That's for sure. But I know for sure that Eutelsat, for instance, is not known for the public because we are so technological company.
Also, like mostly B2B, if we're honest. Like Eutelsat's not big on. In fact, if I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you have a B2C sensibility brand-wise. I don't know if that's part of who and what you guys try and be. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's why we launched Konnect Africa. Konnect Africa is going to be a brand that will do the B2B, B2C in Africa. Yes.
You touched on regulation earlier, Musa, and some of the more enlightened regulators I speak to, policymakers I've spoken to, their distrust of large corporates in this space usually stems from the fact that they'll say that those institutions aren't designed to think for longer than the quarterly cycle, the annual cycle, the 4-year cycle, in the case of the average tenure of a CEO or whatever. And I think it's fair criticism. Give me a sense of how you personally think about your ability to act on what you've just said, this vision you've painted in an entity, in a structured investment climate that really just thinks month to month, quarter to quarter, year to year, when Africa needs people to think decades at a time and do the best for Africa based on a very long mindset. Give me a sense of how you think about these things.
I personally truly believe that there is a kind of ecosystem, a platform set up within Eutelsat to help me to actually achieve that goal. Otherwise, I wouldn't be there. If I can't actually make my dream of enabling Africa with connectivity come through, then I will seek for another business to do. And there are plenty of them that are available in Africa. But it has been clear, made and stated, written within the group, and that we want to go to Africa for long term. We are not keen into how much money we need to invest. So a satellite is very expensive. So we've already invested into a Konnect satellite that will come to life into 2020. We have 2 capacities now that is going to cover more than 20 countries in Africa. So it's investment. It's a huge money. We're not talking about taxi money. The unit that is going to set up the business is setting up the business in Africa. Yes, will have its own resources that will come. The dream comes to reality. There's no sense of, yes, we are a business. We've listed, but again, there's no other way to do business in Africa if you don't. You have kind of personal attachment towards that drives and made me motivated.
I'm interested to know. I mean, and I always ask this question around talent and skills. You know, it's a big challenge, and in a business like yours, I can imagine even more so. So, I'm a student fourth year sitting in my dorm listening to this interview, and I'm super inspired by your vision and your mission. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you go about looking for talent, identifying African talent, bringing it into the fold, and how it is that people can start to subscribe to your business, your goal and your vision? If you're looking at trying to get the next generation of people who can potentially imagine the new products of the future, the new uses of the future, etc., etc.
We have a new website that is online already, connectafrica.com. So where people can actually see what jobs are available, how can they apply, and then, as I said before, we want to partnership with locals. We want to do business not alone, but with African companies in Nigeria, in DRC, in South Africa. So we are partnering with locals. So the locals then, we go to the university, we will partner with a school, technical schools, where we can find local people that are able to have basic knowledge, so we can train them on how what is needed to actually operate under Eutelsat and Konnect Africa brand. So this is what we're doing. We don't want to do it ourselves, because Africa has talent. Africa has people that are keen to start businesses. So yes, that will be the way of finding right people on the right place.
Yep. From what I understand, at least as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the first black executive in this position at Eutelsat. It's certainly a rarity in most European companies of this nature, certainly French companies, to have an African of any kind in such a responsible position. Why do you think that's the case?
I think that the past years there were maybe lack of experience, lack of educated people, but that trend is changing. A lot of companies here in Europe, or European or American companies, they have identified so talented people that since we are talking to business, there are certain things that I think European will never understand how cultural works in Africa. So I know Helda in a taxi, I need to stand to give a seat. So those are the things that I think they are closely related to the business, so that the better you understand the culture, the experience that we have in the continent, then certainly there are some French or UK British or I don't know other nationality that can check on those criteria. But I think for Eutelsat, for Konnect in Africa, it has been decided to have people that know the market. People have experienced and some other businesses in Africa, and then when I'm talking to locals, I know the way of talking to people. So it's a kind of advantage on the ground, and it's always well perceived by locals. Here's my brother. Come and hug. What are you talking about? Oh yeah, I want to do business. Oh yeah, look, let me open the door for you. I know, etc. So there is a kind of
camaraderie.
Yeah.
Just a question, in my mind that I keep thinking about is that you haven't mentioned much about competitors. Is this something that worries you at all? Are you keeping an eye on your blind spots, or right now are you kind of firmly fixed on your goal? How are you considering your competitors at the moment?
And I include the likes of these low orbit satellites, startup concepts, and the world could look very different in 5 years' time, and you're sinking massive cost into infrastructure that you need to sweat over long periods of time. Will it be relevant in another 2-3 years? I don't know.
Yes, it will be. Don't worry. No, I think I did economics at school, so I know competition is good. Competition is good for everyone. It's added value for the customer. It actually benchmark the services, quality of services. So that's where I think we will make a difference. I am African, and I'm passionate, and I want to achieve something my kids will remember. I will tell the story that, oh, you know what, my dad used to work for, So this is what we try to achieve. So it's beyond who is playing. Then I know so many players that in Africa that we want to, in an opportunistic way, to capture the business, because people, the growth will come from Africa, the GDP growth is in Africa, so let's go to Africa. Yeah, people, it's a 10. Why? So, but myself, I truly think that yes, there will be a difference in the service. I think that we are about to deliver a very high quality service to people that will be accessible. We will partner with locals, so we will be on the ground with them. So it make a huge difference. Some people can pay higher price for high quality service, then take the cheaper product with no service at all. I can see your computers. One of the most expensive in the market. But why that you are using this computer? Because there is something behind service, product, design, etc. that you're willing to. Yes.
The man just compared his company to the world's most valuable company in the world. For the record, Eutelsat right up there with Apple, which is okay. I mean, if you're welcome to believe that, and it's not a problem. I have a final question I want to ask you, and if we were to grant you, Musa and I have the power to grant you $1 million right now to create a little angel fund. Your board has approved it, so don't worry about the. Yes, you've declared it. It won't impact your tenure in any way. No strings attached. It's money you can afford to lose, but we want to entrust it to you. Give me a sense of what sort of startup venture you might invest in on the African continent, and where.
I think there is, on a personal life, I contribute much into incubators, platforms, because I believe that Africa needs access to mentors, people that have actually succeeded into business. If you didn't know, I'm sitting as a board director in Equity Bank as Equity Kenya, Equity DRC, so I'm part of the board member.
I didn't know that.
Yes, now I'll take it. So we truly think that, yes, money, it's good, but before that, we need to help people to make the idea converted into projects. Because so many people, when you talk to them and they present you the project, actually, it's just an idea. So if you give them money, then it's 50% of that money or more will disappear for a short period of time. So if we have money to invest into phase one of transforming ideas into project, and Africa is huge, and there is talented everywhere that I've seen so far. Nairobi is a big place. DRC is Kinshasa, it's a big place. Johannesburg, it's a big place. So there's a need everywhere. So I wouldn't choose any particular place. But being from DRC Congo, I may start from Kinshasa.
So you'd probably start a fund, probably figure out who needs what, and start to see it in little angel droplets all over the continent, just starting in Kinshasa.
Yes, of course. Because as I said, that's to me, it's a priority number one, so that people can actually do and design the project, describe it, and then from there they can access to fund, because the banks are there. They have plenty of money. We every day we give money to enterprises from 100K to 100 million, like in Rwanda. Equity has done so much. So that's happened in real life. It's happened. Money is there, but ideas and training is not sufficient at all.
It's almost like you're talking about enabling an environment where people can fail, actually, can experiment, try and bring something to life, bring an idea to life. If it works, and on to the next thing. If it doesn't, well, start, because I feel like that's something that's missing on the continent. I think we struggle with this idea of failure. Like, I think part of why that sort of funding is missing is because we don't have a culture on the continent. Correct me if I'm wrong. There isn't a culture of, well, here's $10,000. Go and try this. I like that idea. Have you tried it? No. Okay, here's $10,000. Go and try it. But that comes with the understanding that might not work out. Yeah. But I don't think most Africans in a position to fund an endeavor of that nature are comfortable with the idea that $10,000 might not come back, and that is an investment in itself.
Yes, I think it's start to happen. In Singapore, there were a possibility where you invest your money, and the government said, yes, if you fail, 50% we got your money back. So, yeah, failure will always happen. Out of 10 startups, there's maybe 2 that will survive. So, yes, we need that money at an earlier stage of assessing the idea, transforming into the project. So that's why I think at Konnect Africa, where I was talking about enabling partnership into the continent, is to give opportunity to people, to local people, to partner with us, so that we can even educate them how to run a business, how to do a business planning, how to do accounting, how to hire people, how to motivate people. So there is a tangible impact on partnering with locals in Africa.
Okay, no pressure, but I'm sure there are people in Kinshasa who can't wait for this fund to form. So maybe you'd have, maybe that's just an idea, maybe for your 2018 bonus. No pressure. Thank you so much for being on the show, Jean-Claude of Eutelsat. It's been a pleasure, man.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And thank you to you, Musa, Kalenga.
My pleasure. Super inspiring story. We'll be watching you closely, and hopefully we can get you back in a year or so to see some of the magic that you've created. Thank you.
Thank you.